Hello everyone, my name is Lacey, this is Sekhmet, and you are watching Reptiles. So today we have Sekhmet out, which means we're either talking about a small species or about another species of sand boa. It's the second one. We're talking about sand boas, another species of sand boa. So today, I want to tell you about the species of sand boa that is the second most commonly kept sand boa in captivity, and that would be the rough-scaled sand boa. Hooray! So the rough-scaled sand boa is native to India and Pakistan, and they really like those sandy, deserty areas around Punjab, Kachik, and Sindh. They are called the rough-scaled sand boa because they have rough scales. I know, people naming things, it's like they know what they're doing sometimes. But they're called rough scale, she's hooked around my shirt here, because on something like a Kenyan sand boa, like Sekhmet here, I don't know if I can pull her up because she's looped in, on the back end of a Kenyan sand boa, they have keeled scales that feel rough and pebbly and very highly textured, but the rest of her is nice and smooth. Now, on a rough-scaled sand boa, that tail texture goes down their entire body. Their whole body is textured and pebbly like that. They're called keeled because the scales have a ridge running down the middle that makes it look like the keel of a boat. The more you know. Now, rough-scaled sand boas, they're similar to, any other sand boa. They like to live in the sand, in the ground, in the dirt, and they're ambush predators, so they'll bury themselves, and when a nice tasty treat comes along, they pop up, and they eat it. But something that's cool about the rough-scaled sand boa is that when they're juveniles, their tail is a lot lighter in color, and it's very pointed. It's a very sharp point. So they'll stick their tail up out of the dirt and wiggle it around as a coddle lure to lure in smaller things that they can eat. So like lizards and amphibians, and they'll be like, oh, look, a worm or something I can eat. And they go for the tail, and then bam, they pop up and they eat the offending critter. Now, as adults, they can get to be up to like 3 feet long-ish, with females obviously being larger than males. So a female would get up to 3 feet, and a male would probably get to be a foot or something like that. As a boa, they give live birth, and their adult coloration is kind of mottled. It's really like a mottled brown, black, grays, sometimes some yellows in there to help them blend in with the soil. Now, in India and Pakistan, they are often mistaken for Russell's vipers, because rough-scaled sand boas are using something called Batesian mimicry. Now, Batesian mimicry, what this means is that the harmless species, the sand boa in question, has developed traits that cause it to look similar to a more dangerous species, the Russell viper. Other animals that have Batesian mimicry are like Honduran milk snakes. They have similar coloration to the venomous coral snakes, or false water cobras. They hood up like regular cobras, but they're not nearly as dangerous. Hognose snakes, they both flare out their neck and wiggle their tail to mimic a rattlesnake, or happenstance, a cobra, even though they don't interact. They're not with cobras in the wild, it's to make themselves look bigger. That's why cobras do it. But that is called Batesian mimicry, where they try to mimic a dangerous species to protect them from would-be predators. Isn't that neat? So something that's really good about the keeled scales, in the Kenyan sand boa, these keeled scales on the tail kind of help to grip and propel them through the substrate. But the rough-scaled sand boa, it helps them to grip their prey, and it helps them hide in the substrate a lot better. It helps them to hide in the substrate a lot better because it's so textured and so grippy. the soil sticks to it, the leaf litter sticks to it, so it's a lot easier for them to stay hidden while they're waiting to ambush their prey. In captivity, rough-scaled sand boas can live 15 to 20 years. So they are a long-lived pet, much like our Kenyan sand boa friends. And you can find them pretty easily on Morph Market. Great Basin Serpentarium I know has some available right now. And they're gonna have similar keeping requirements to our Kenyan friend. But it's really humid out here. It's really gross. And we're gonna keep it short today. Keep it rolling. And as always, friends, never stop learning, because a mind is a terrible thing to waste. See ya!